Pure love is not felt by the mind. It's not the thinking mind that can even appreciate pure love. We can comment upon it very often. Our comments on love don't increase the experience of love, they destroy it. We have an experience of love with somebody, and the mind starts thinking, can it be real? Am I not fooling myself? Thoughts can be negative and destroy experience of love with anybody. It's happening every day. People come to me, I found a soulmate. Love so much. Both parties are there with me. We love each other like nobody's business. We have found each other. We were soulmates. We were made for each other. And after 3 months, they are back in a divorce court. I said, what happened to that made for each other stuff and that soulmate stuff? No, we knew from day one we were not made for each other. I said, that's not what you said on day one. What happened? The experience of love was real. But the mind destroyed it. Because the mind has different values. The mind destroys love by a simple thing it does, which it's doing all the time, called expectations. Expects things. Expects too much. Everybody expects something. Expectation means disappointment. The more you have expectation, the more disappointments you feel. And that is why the disappointment in expectations is cancelling out a real love affair that you had. And that's what happens. There was a lovely couple, Charles and Emily, I remember. They lived in Nevada, happily married. They fell in love so much. After marriage, when they began to take things for granted and didn't agree on small, simple things, no, this coffee is not hot enough. But you took the same coffee yesterday. I'm giving some simple examples. On small things, they would argue. Argument led to anger. Anger led to resentment. Resentment led that I'll not sleep with you tonight, I'll be in the other bedroom. Okay, all kinds of things. And divorce. They divorced and fell in love with it again. They felt so close to each other. The big mistake we made to get divorced. We were really made for each other. Nobody else like us that we can now find remarried. Same people. Remarried. One day after marriage, argument started. Cut the long story short, divorced again. And to make a story even better, remarried third time. It's a true story I'm telling you. It happened. So I took up that as a case study. I said, let me see. When they are married, they want to break up. When they are not married, they want to be together. What is the difference? How come that when they are together, living together, married, they don't want each other? And when they are not married, they are so much in love with each other. What are the ingredients that create this kind of love and hate relationship? So I found out from my study that when you are not married, you put out your best face, best foot forward. When you're married, that's all withdrawn. You take life for granted. It's now a life to be lived for granted. That whole style of dating is gone after marriage. And argument, too much argument is a great skill of the mind to create a divorce. If you argue too much, it leads to divorce or separation or unpleasant living. There was a wise old man who gave a talk here. I also went to attend it. And he was also like a saint. So that is why people were worshipping him. So I also folded my hands to listen to him. And a young lady there in the audience said, I and my husband fight over petty things and we have arguments over everything. Want your blessing. Please bring some peace in our family. He said, I can do it. And there's a way I have, a special mantra for that. You bring a bottle of water, and I'll speak the holy words of mantra and bless the water, and it'll resolve your problem. And so she said, all right. She brought a bottle of water, and he chanted some mantras and blessed it. And she said, how often should I give it to my husband? He said, no, it's not for your husband, it's for you. But I'll tell you the manner in which it has to be used, the special method of using this water. When your husband starts an argument, you open the bottle and take a sip. But don't swallow it. Keep it in your mouth. Hold the bottle. While he's arguing, you hold the water. If he stops, swallow it. If he starts again, take another sip. There'll be no problem. Peace will be restored. Now, such a simple thing he suggested, and still we argue so much. Why do we have to argue so much? Somebody sent me a cartoon of two professors, no, one professor and one wise man, the holy man. They were walking together. And the professor says to the holy man, please tell me the secret of happiness. He says, secret of happiness is not to argue with idiots. And he said, I can't agree with that. He said, you are right. He said, you are right. So there are so many examples of this, how our mind interferes in our spiritual life. Because I truly believe a life of pure love is a spiritual life. Because it comes from the spirit, comes from the soul. A life where you feel loved and can love is a spiritual life. And we destroy it by too much argument, too much interference by the mind. Mind was not designed for that. Mind is not designed. Mind is not designed for love. Mind is designed to create desires and from desires attachments. That's all it is. The mind is given an experience which we take as real. Understand, the functioning of the mind is so simple that you are using an equipment in your head which creates sense perceptions. You can see, touch, taste, smell, all those things you can do because of your own head. Your own brain has created that. And your mind then uses these sense perceptions to perceive things, objects, people, and takes them to be real. Separates them as if it is not part of the mind but part of separation. If the mind were really clever, it would know it's all created by the mind. Mind is not clever enough for that. Mind is only interested in the experience generated outside and therefore gets attached to the experience, desires something and desires more. And then when desires are there, it causes attachment. If you don't get the desire fulfilled, you're disappointed. You're attached. Attachment pulls you back again and again. A great device to perpetuate the drama. And it's perpetuating because of that. We are all here again and again, lifetime after lifetime, just because of this factor. Attachment, desires, attachment, desires. Gautam Buddha was the one who spoke most strongly about it. The only thing that's holding us back is our desires and attachments. But the mind was designed for that, to make this world real, to make it look real. If there's nothing real, how would you be desiring it or attaching it? How is it made real? By completely shutting down the process through which experience takes place.